Hello and welcome back, everybody. In case you guys couldn't tell, basically every single subject is just going to pick up where we left off last. You'll probably notice maybe one or two things might change in between the end of last video and the start of the next. That's because, again, I'm doing this in one recording, and if I mess up, guess what? I gotta start all over again. I really need to learn how to use, video editors a little bit. So that's definitely on my to-do list, especially since, I want to, teach you guys how to perform well in Python and in programming in general, right? And by perform well, I mean just do it, be able to do it. So anyways, in today's lesson, we are going to learn a little bit on a new function that is native to Python. We're also going to combine two self-made functions, and then we are going to call one entire function to do two different things. Sounds pretty cool, right? So to begin, let's go ahead and get rid of this call. Let's go ahead, pop down here, and we're going to define a new function. We're going to call it greet user. And our first variable is, of course, our greeting. Greet equals hello. And then our user, if I could type, alrighty. And, well, here's where we run into an issue, right? I don't know your name, and I can just assume what your name is, but it's definitely not going to be your name, right? Almost every time, right? So we have to be able to get something from the user, and those are called inputs, right? Now, in other programming languages, you have to do an import function or an import keyword and then import from some other place. And it's not just built into the programming language itself. So a good example of this is Java. You have to do an import statement in Java utilities and import specifically the scanner. If that's all that you're needing from that, then what you're going to do is you're going to call the scanner by assigning the scanner over to a variable and then creating a new scanner from that. And then after you've opened up that scanner, then you got to close the scanner. And there's ways around it, but I'm not going to get into that because this is not a Java course. This is just programming in general and learning Python while you're at it. So, how are we going to get input from Python? Well, there's a certain function that you can do. And if you guys remember how simple print and def are, this is no different. And see it right there, input. Now, here's the thing about input. Input will not accept every single data type that you want it to do. It only accepts string. Now, there are some exceptions. These exceptions is whenever you force a type. and we'll get into that whenever we go into our numbers section. But for now, we're just going to leave it like this. And something else about input, right? Again, if you go into python.org and look at the documentations for the input function, you will notice that it can accept an argument. Well, what does that mean? Well, it kind of acts like print in a way. So you can actually write up a prompt, prompting the user to do something. And now the way that I am doing this input is that I am accepting it from the terminal, right? That's just by default. There's that section is going to be covered under GUI about, like how to accept input from the GUI instead of like the terminal. But for now, again, we're just going to put in our prompt. What is our prompt going to be? What is your name? And the convention here is just to add a space so it makes it look a little neater. And then we're going to do just like what we did in our first one. Text is equal to greet plus space plus user, and then print text. And now we can call these one at a time, and if you guys remember from the last video, I have already called hello world and it works just fine. There's no real reason why we wouldn't expect this function to work. But we should definitely try it just to make sure before we do anything else with it. So we are just going to call greet user and see if it works. And we're getting a phrasing error, which means that I have an extra space. There we go. What's your name? David. Hello, David. Pretty cool, right? So now that we know that this works. Now, how are we going to combine these two? Well, that's pretty simple. We're just going to define a new function, and we're going to call it I can't spell. United. And then now we can pick whichever order that we want. Now we have an input statement. That input statement is going to go first, right? So it's got a little bit of priority, but we want to make sure that it does go first. So what we can do is just call our function within this function, right? And then call the next function within this function. And then down here we can use this method. And then, you see what I mean? I did it in the wrong order. So, and that's the thing with procedural, is it is line by line. So if you don't have the correct order, you can get certain errors like that. Now, whenever we do this, we get, what's your name? Hello, David. Hello, world. And that's pretty much it. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you guys like this, please leave a like. If you know somebody that is also trying to get into programming, you can shoot them my way. Another disclaimer, there are hundreds and thousands of other people that are, teaching Python. and they're a lot better at it than me. I'll be quite honest with you. I am learning Python with you guys. So just so you guys are aware, and I know enough that I can sit here and teach you guys the basics while I'm learning some more advanced stuff. There's some awesome things that are coming down the pipeline that you guys will see. Some little tricks and stuff that I've picked up, and you'll be able to kind of learn a lot about what Python has to offer. And it's not just Python, it's other programming languages as well, because I'll go through and explain, some different things that I've learned about some other programming languages. Anyways, I will see you guys in the next one.